It's Thursday, April 2nd. In the headlines, Jamaica moves to develop first national AI policy at readiness assessment launch. Hurricane relief imports soar as Jamaica's trade gap widens. In business news, we have your usual financial market roundup. Regionally, Cuban farmers warn of looming fresh food shortage amid fuel blockade. And in sports, Jamaica back with Kingsmen franchise for CPL 2026. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Jamaica is moving to develop its first comprehensive national artificial intelligence policy, marking a major step toward regulating and guiding the use of the rapidly evolving technology. The move was disclosed at the launch of the Jamaica AI Readiness Assessment methodology. The assessment framework provides a globally benchmarked approach for countries to measure readiness across 5 key areas: legal and regulatory frameworks, technological and infrastructural capacity, economic readiness, social and cultural considerations, and scientific and educational development. National AI Task Force Chairman Christopher Record is looking forward to Jamaica making waves in the AI service sector.
We can win the AI services race, right? We can win that for sure. So today is more than just a report launch. It is showing Jamaica the way how we can do it. Jamaica as a regional AI services hub. Picture teams in Kingston, Montego Bay, Christiana, Portmore, Spanish Town, exporting skills in data governance, cybersecurity, AI assurance, and process automation, training and sector. We recently saw a big almost demonstration where an organization who's making some investment in Jamaica held a hackathon. And first hackathon, over 1,000 people registered. The last one, almost 1,500 people registered.
The initiative signals the government's intent to strengthen oversight of AI technologies while positioning the country to harness their potential for national development. Jamaica recorded a sharp increase in imports in the final quarter of 2025, largely driven by the influx of hurricane relief supplies following the passage of Hurricane Melissa. That's according to the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin. According to the Director General of Statin, Leisha de Latabadere, the total imports for 2025 reflect a 2% increase in imports and an 11% decline in exports.
Relative to the corresponding period in 2024, earnings from total exports declined by 11.1%, largely due to reduced revenue from crude materials excluding fuels. The reporting period was characterized by increased imports of emergency-related goods, particularly items related to energy supply, communication, and temporary shelter.
Data presented at a quarterly media briefing showed a significant surge in spending on generators.
Imports of generators also recorded significant growth, with over US $6.9 million worth of generators being imported in the month of November 2025, as more electricity generation equipment were imported during the period.
The importation of tarpaulins and other temporary shelter materials also rose sharply. Spending in this category moved from just over $105 million in 2024 to nearly $1 billion by November 2025, representing an increase of more than 800%. Statin notes that several other emergency relief items also recorded notable increases, contributing to a widening of the country's trade deficit. The figures highlight the continued challenge Jamaica faces in narrowing the gap between imports and exports, a situation further exacerbated by the impact of natural disasters. Taxpayers are likely to bear the cost of millions of dollars in unpaid customs duties after the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI, used its tax-exempt status to import goods on behalf of private companies. Acting Chief Executive Officer of the UHWI, Eric Hussein, told members of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee on Tuesday that the Jamaica Customs Agency has ruled the hospital responsible for the unpaid taxes and penalties. He says the agency made it clear that the hospital would be held accountable as it had no formal arrangements with the private companies that benefited from the concessions. The hospital's use of its tax-exempt status to facilitate imports for at least 4 private entities reportedly resulted in losses totaling $23.1 million. He further notes that the Integrity Commission has joined the police and the JCA in investigating the matter. Several Jamaican families have already begun receiving support under the ROOFs program, with total disbursements now surpassing $8.8 billion. The initiative is providing direct financial assistance to households across all parishes, helping families to repair their homes and recover from recent challenges. In a statement to the media, Minister of Labour and Social Security, Pernell Charles Jr., explains that payments are being delivered through multiple channels and are supported by a rigorous verification process. This includes TRN validation, GPS geotagging, and cross-checking with national databases to ensure accuracy, fairness, and accountability. According to the statement, the verification exercise remains ongoing, with authorities working to confirm contact details, validate location data, and ensure that the correct heads of households and beneficiaries are identified. In a bid to improve access, the number of payout and distribution locations has been expanded island-wide. Coordination with payment partners has also been strengthened to better match capacity with demand. Additionally, members of Parliament have been provided with updated beneficiary information to support coordination. The Restoration of Owner or Occupant Family Shelters Program, ROOFs program, is a $10 billion Jamaican government initiative designed to repair homes damaged by Hurricane Melissa. Registration for the 2026 National Reading Competition is now open. For more than 30 years, JLS has been staging this nationwide event, developing the reading skills of participants and cultivating their appreciation for books. Speaking at the official launch at the Tom Redcom Library, Director General of the JLS, Maureen Thompson, says the competition is the flagship event for the JLS, and it is one of the most impactful literacy initiatives.
It has inspired generations of young Jamaicans, and we have seen 2 of our champions later becoming Rhodes Scholars. It has helped to shape a national movement of readers across all age levels.
Starting at the parish levels, the competition is carried out at parish libraries where participants engage in literacy analysis and critical thinking activities.
These include book reviews, reading of poetry, fiction, and nonfiction, all designed to build both literacy and confidence. Participants are also exposed to opportunities for growth, self-expression, and are recognized for their effort and achievement. The competition culminates in a national level engagement that celebrates excellence and achievement at our awards ceremony.
This year's theme is Together We Read, Together We Rise, paying homage to the lessons learned from Hurricane Melissa.
Reading remains one of the most powerful tools for rebuilding. It strengthens the mind, it restores hope, it helps to reimagine possibilities and create new opportunities.
Interested persons can register at catalog.jls.gov.jm and let the reading begin. Firefighters are often the first to respond when emergencies happen, risking their lives to keep others safe. Here's the final part of this feature, which includes what it takes to do the job and how civilians can do their part in preventing fires.
Sometimes we speak about discipline, and when person hear the word discipline, they normally think about punishment. But discipline is simple as managing yourself, right? So if you can't manage yourself, the little habits that you display or the little habits that you have, and you take them on this serious job, when you're out there in the field, it can cause problems. So I would say that practice some discipline in everything that you do, because if I am out there at an emergency and I am going to just do something that is out of script, it can cause the life of another person. It can cause the life of my crew. It can cause my life. So discipline is important to the Jamaica Fire Brigade because it helps you to pay attention to your duties. It helps you to pay attention to the seriousness. It also helps you to pay attention to the technical areas that we need to pay attention to. So that is one tip. I think, in my personal opinion, I think if you are disciplined, you will get through everything else. First of all, I would say you need to educate yourself. So you need to know the do's and the don'ts about fires. We have a saying that we say that fire is a good servant, but it is a bad master. So it's a good servant in the sense that we use it to cook. We use it to warm ourselves. It is used in the motor vehicle that we drive every day. It is used in our homes. Our other places around the world, in the homes, it is used as heater, right? So it is a good servant, but it's a bad master because if we use it carelessly, it can cause a fire that will destroy your home, destroy your business, destroy you as an individual. So tips now to keep you safe from the dangers of fire are that when you are using fire, you have to be careful. We have to teach our children also about fires. One tip is that we should teach them not to play with the stove knobs, teach them not to play with the matches. We teach them not to play with the plugs. We also encourage persons who like to run extension cords, not to run them under the rugs, not to put them behind the settees, because in case of any chafing, you will not be aware of that. And that can stay there and cause a fire, especially under the rug. You're walking on the rug from day to day, and it causes a chafe, and you don't see that. The two wires touch together, it causes a spark, which eventually lights the carpet, and it causes a fire. Also your drains. Try to clean the drains and the outstop, the gutters and the outstop, because when the leaves settle there and the dry leaves, if there's a spark that blow come over your property, it can easily catch those leaves and it causes a fire on your property. Also, try to clean out the area around your homes, the dry bush or the green bush around your homes, because some bushfires lead up to house fires. So when you clear out those areas around your home, if the fire burns come near your house, it will stop where the fuel is. So these are just little tips. One other tip, if your clothes are on fire, stop, drop, and roll.
We hope you learned some useful information about fire safety and the work being done by the men and women of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Until next time, stay safe.
Thanks, Danita, for that report. Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. Victoria Mutual Investments Limited, VMIL, confirms that it has obtained an interim court order in connection with proposed steps relating to the shareholdings of entities with interest in Kentire Holdings Jamaica Limited, and this company is chaired by Tyrone Reed. The matter is scheduled to return to court for further hearing on April 27, 2026. The order granted by the Supreme Court of Jamaica temporarily restrained certain actions in relation to the relevant shares and assets pending a further hearing on the matter. VMIL said it took this step to protect its legal and commercial interests, including rights arising under existing security arrangements affecting certain shareholdings, as well as the judgment obtained against Kentire Holdings and related companies for sums due and owing to VMIL. As this matter is now before the court, VMIL said it will not comment in detail on the substance of the proceedings at this time. Motorists will once again pay more at the pumps after state-owned refinery PBCJ announced another round of fuel price increases. Effective Thursday, E10 87 gasoline will rise by $4.50 to $172.38 per liter, while E10 90 moves up the same amount to $179.82 per liter. Automotive diesel will sell for $184.75 per liter, and ultra-low sulfur diesel increases to $191.59. Kerosene will also climb by $4.50 to $174.14 per liter. Meanwhile, propane cooking gas goes up slightly by 25 cents to $80.36, while butane dips by 25 cents to $89.08 per liter. PBCJ says ongoing tensions in the Middle East continue to keep oil prices above seasonal averages, driving another week of higher transport fuel costs. Retailers will add their markups to the listed prices. For the trading period of April 1, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 14,017,257 units, representing 43.78% of market sales volume. Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited US dollar shares with 2,244,961 units, representing 7.01% of market sales activities. Kentire Holdings Jamaica Limited with 2,185,401 units, representing 6.83% of market sales activities. Investor activity remained concentrated in conglomerate and transportation plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for April 1, 2026, Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $156.97 and buying at $158.87. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by $2.09 transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $111.73 and was bought for $113.82. For the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of 67 cents in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $210.56 and was bought for $211.23. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, ignoring your credit report while building a debt portfolio may not hit you in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, but it becomes undeniable in your 50s. Your 30s and 40s is the window for strategic expansion. As income stabilizes, many still do not fully grasp how to intentionally structure credit to support wealth building outcomes. This is the phase where credit should be deployed with precision, leveraging stronger income to access better financing terms and invest in appreciating or income generating assets. However, without a deliberate plan, many continue to borrow in the same unstructured way, missing the chance to convert earning power into lasting financial positioning. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital, markets, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, farmers in Cuba have warned that the country will soon run out of fresh food due to a lack of fuel needed to plow and plant their next harvest. Crops are unable to reach markets because of a fuel blockade imposed by the United States in January. Al Jazeera's Latin American editor, Lucia Newman, reports.
At a food factory in the Cuban municipality of Quivican, tons of once juicy tomatoes are rotting away.
These tomatoes have been here for too many days without being processed. They're normally turned into tomato paste in 24 hours after they arrive. But because of the long-term power cuts, we can't finish processing.
These tomatoes were about to be cleaned and peeled when the belt stopped last night. Mr. Martinez tells me that they're losing 80% of their production. With only 4 hours of power a day, they do what they can. They also don't have petrol to deliver to hospitals, schools, or supermarkets. Nearby, Martin says he lost his sugarcane crop, which has dried up because he had no fuel to cut it in time. These farmers are rushing to harvest their garlic crop, but they're afraid they'll be unable to take it to market. The same applies to plantains, manioc, and other staples. The U.S. fuel blockade to Cuba's state sector is turning what was already an agricultural crisis into a calamity. Fifth-generation farmer Dion Figueroa says he won't be able to plant a new harvest.
It's not possible. There's no fuel for tractors. That means in a few months, people won't have anything left to eat, nothing which grows on this land.
Before the revolution, Cuba was the world's largest producer of sugarcane and sugar. Now, this sugar mill, like so many others around the country, is paralyzed. It's closed 5 years ago, in fact. And this is an indication of the crisis that the agricultural sector in this country has been enduring for decades.
The nearby agricultural cooperative blames it on lack of investment from the state.
We have manpower, we have finance, but we have no machinery, seeds, fertilizers, or fumigation. Now, private farmers are allowed to import all that, but in dollars. How can they sell to a population that earns in local currency?
Paradoxically, the government's tight controls over every sector of the economy are at last being relaxed. But it's impossible to gauge their effectiveness, as long as Cuba is being deprived of the fuel it needs to survive. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Quivican, Cuba.
Against the backdrop of global conflict, the Eastern Caribbean dollar is being hailed as a symbol of stability. The Eastern Caribbean Currency Union is preparing to mark 50 years of its fixed exchange rate with the United States dollar, as the ECCB says it remains committed to protecting the long-standing peg.
Amid growing global uncertainty, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, is allaying fears of exchange rate volatility, especially concerning developments in the United States. Since 1976, the Eastern Caribbean dollar has been pegged to the US dollar at a rate of $1 to 2.7 EC dollars. Since his return to office, President Donald Trump's continued criticisms of the U.S. Central Bank, known as the Federal Reserve, have sparked concern over its independence and potential consequences for other economies. However, senior economist at the ECCB, Kevin Woods, said the bank, which manages the Eastern Caribbean dollar, does not foresee disruptions in the fixed exchange rate with the U.S. dollar.
The developments that are taking place globally, including the United States, may be a concern for various central banks around the world, but given the way in which our system is set up and how it ensures that that backing ratio is maintained, it's very unlikely that is going to happen in the near future.
Given the fixed exchange rate, Woods acknowledged that American monetary policy affects the region, particularly regarding inflation. However, Woods explained that the ECCB maintains excess reserves well above both the legal minimum of 60% and the operational minimum of 80% to mitigate against potential shocks. As of February 2026, the ECCB backs 99.3% of EC dollars issued, with the equivalent in US dollars, a measure that further stabilizes the fixed exchange rate. According to Woods, the ECCB is also in a position to finance 6.2 months of member states' imports, more than 2 times the recommended amount.
So the rule of thumb is that if you have a currency peg, you should be able to have enough foreign reserves to finance 3 months of imports. But in our case, you see how many months of imports we are able to finance? 6.2.
The ECCU is set to celebrate 50 years of its peg to the US dollar on July 7th this year. Deidre Seeley, GBN News.
In sports, we look to cricket. The Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League has unveiled its newest franchise, the Jamaica Kingsmen, set to represent Jamaica and usher in a new era for regional cricket. The team is owned by a US-based group led by Fawad Sawar, which also owns a side in the Pakistan Super League, marking a major move to strengthen global cricket ties. The announcement was made Tuesday in Kingston with Minister of Sport Olivia Grange among other speakers at the launch.
I want to tell you why the name came up, and it's something random, but it could be, as far as I'm concerned, one day I woke up and I was like, we were talking about our street cricket team at that time, so I was like, I want to name it something that's very, very impactful, and I'm a very spiritual person. That's how I was raised. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only one king, and that's the man upstairs, and we are the Kingsmen, so that's what I'm going to call Jamaica. So, Jamaica Kingsmen. As far as women is concerned, women franchise, I want to take my time, and that's what I've told everybody, because that is a very, very dear project as far as I'm concerned. I'm super excited to be involved in the women development here, from grassroots and everyone. So I want to make sure we reflect everything that represent all the Jamaican women in this area. So we want to make sure we come up with the best name that's suited. So pardon me. So we're going to take our time on that, and then hopefully we can reveal it within the next week or so.
I'm delighted to say Jamaica is back in the Caribbean Premier League, and we are in it to win it. For all its success, there was one essential element missing from the CPL, and that has been Jamaica. There's no better place to watch, participate in, or talk about sports than Jamaica. And we have set out strategically to provide the best facilities for the best athletes in the world to develop and compete in Jamaica. And for the fans from every part of the world to come to Jamaica to experience and enjoy the one-of-a-kind energy and vibe that makes us who we are.
And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBC Jamaica. Thanks for watching.